So modify her request.
Mr. President, I'm reserving the right to object, and I will object to the
Senator from Arizona.
modification. Well, first of all, I think that what is being done here, if we agreed that a small number of senators could basically change the way that the Senate does business, it could have serious ramifications for the future. The senator from Utah just said that he doesn't want to be deprived of his vote. We're ready to vote, I say to my colleague from Utah, we're ready to vote. We're ready to vote on a motion that would send this bill, which is the subject of enormous amount of debate and discussion for hours and hours till like 7 o'clock in the morning, to a conference with motions to instruct the conferees. I would be more than happy to vote on instructions to the conferees concerning his previous concern about tax increase, which somehow has been removed, and that of increasing the debt limit, instructing those conferees. That's the way that the Senate should do business. And if the senator from Utah will allow this body to vote on whether we should move to conference with instructions to conferees, that is the regular order. It is not the regular order for a number of senators, a small number, a minority within a minority here, to say that we will not agree to go to conference because of a particular problem with an issue which I grant is important to the senator from Utah. It's important to many senators as to whether we raise the debt limit or not. Well, what's to prevent? We're on the agriculture bill right now. I say to my colleague from Mississippi, suppose we pass the ag bill. Suppose that the House of Representatives pass the ag bill and we want to appoint conferees. But there is a burning issue that a number of my colleagues might have, and so we're then going to block going to conference. Look, this isn't just about the budget conferees. This is about whether we will ever be able to appoint conferees on a bill that's been passed by the House and also by the Senate, and that we will come together and do what we have been doing since this body, since the Congress of the United States started functioning. And that is to sit down and iron out our differences. Now, if the senator from Utah is worried about the result, I understand. I'm worried about the result. I'm worried about a bill right now that is just outrageous in pork barrel spending and catfish and all kinds of stuff that I have concerned about, subsidies for the tobacco companies and all that. But that does not mean that I am going to object that we move for conferees when the will of the Senate and the Congress and the people is heard in open and honest debate and voting. We're here to vote. We're not here to block things. We're here to articulate our positions on the issues in the best and possible and most eloquent way we can, and do what we can for the good of the country, and then let the process move forward. I say to my friend from Utah, you're not going to win every fight here. You're not going to win every battle here. But if you are right, I can tell you from the experience I've had over here in the United States Senate, you will win in the end if your cause is just. But you can only win if you articulate your argument before your colleagues here in the Congress and the American people. We're about to, I hope, conclude the immigration reform bill. There will be portions of that bill that I don't like. There will be portions of that bill that many of my colleagues won't like. But we're not counting on 100 votes in the United States Senate, but we are counting on a majority of votes and passing it. And we're hoping that the House will do the same. And then we will go to conference. Now, does that mean that if a group of senators, 4, 5, 10, I don't know how many colleagues you have on this issue, object to us going to conference on the immigration bill, that therefore it should stop? I am very worried if this happens about the precedent that will be set on how the Congress of the United States does business. Now, just a few weeks ago, after the Newton massacre, my colleague from Utah and my colleague, I believe from Florida, I'm not sure who else, said, we don't want to take up the gun bill. We don't want to discuss the gun bill. I happen to have disagreed with many of the proposals, but was it right? Would it have been right for us not even to debate in light of the Newton massacre? But the senator from Utah thought it was the best thing for us not to move forward. Thank God there was a group of us that said, let's move forward. Let's debate the gun bill. Let's do what we can to prevent these further massacres. That's our obligation and our duty to the American people. So here we are again. The budget that for 4 years, I loved beating the daylights out of my friend from Missouri who would not insist on a budget being brought to the floor of the Senate. Now a budget has been passed. Everybody was talking about what a great moment it was that we stayed up all night. My age, that's not nearly as enjoyable as it once was. And now after being so proud that we can't observe at least a vote, if the senator from Utah wants a vote, whether he should appoint conferees or not, and what those instructions of the conferees should be, then that's what we should be doing. And I understand how important it is to senator from Florida, the senator from, I don't know how many there are, but I can tell you there's a majority of us that want the Congress to work the people's will. And so all I would do is say, look, I hope that my colleagues will agree with motions to instruct the conferees. If it is the senator from Utah's concern that the conferees should not address the issue of the debt ceiling, then let's vote to instruct the conferees to do that. That's the regular process. That's a regular order around here. But I can also tell my colleague from Utah something else. If we continue to block things like this and block what is the regular order, then the majority will be tempted to change the rules of the Senate. That would be the most disastrous outcome that I could ever imagine. And I don't begrudge anybody, whether they've been here 6 months or they've been here 30 years, their rights as senators. But I hope my colleagues would look at the way the Senate has functioned in the past. Are the American people unhappy with us? Of course they're unhappy with us. One reason is because they don't see us accomplishing anything. What I have done for these years and the people that I've respected in this body on both sides of the aisle, you fight the good fight. You make your case to your colleagues and the American people, and then you accept. You accept the outcome of a regular order while preserving your rights as an individual senator. We have maintained that balance to a large degree. I hope that my colleagues will understand how important that is, and I would urge my colleagues to do what we've been doing, and that is to have motions to instruct the conferees. If their issue is taxes, if their issue is the debt ceiling, then we vote to instruct those conferees, and those conferees carry out the will of the majority of the United States Senate.